So it was interesting, Bill. Let me give you this quote. I'm actually going to read the whole thing. I thought, he's stealing my opening line. Your life isn't for you. It's quite a burden lifted when we realize that we do not have to move the whole world. It's going to move anyway. Did you just hear that? This realization does not lessen our duty or social obligation. It does not lessen our duty or social obligation. And so what I realized, and I shared with this community probably back in October, because I went to an agent conference, and it was all about social justice. And there are a lot of communities that believe we're not supposed to talk about social events. We're not supposed to talk about social justice. And I'm like, seriously, why not? Why isn't that part of what we believe? We believe in oneness, so oneness means that everybody should be treated fairly, justly, humanely. And so what that meant to me, your life isn't for you, it's about service. So I want you to think about, God, I want to say 2 weeks, it might have only been a week ago. What was on our TV screen? We were tearing down statues, and we were pointing guns at each other, and we were screaming hateful words at each other. It was all over the news. All over the news. And then Harvey came. So I want to start by sharing a story that many of you probably saw. It was on CBS Sunday morning. And it was 25 people that linked arms. One standing where it was reasonably dry, making a chain out to a car where a family was going to die if they didn't help them get out of their car. 25 people. Nobody said to anybody in that line, oh, I'm sorry, what color are you? Oh, please don't help. I'm sorry, what religion do you practice? No, we don't need you in the line. Who do you love? Oh, no, you have to step out. 25 people, none of that was ever said. And you looked at that line and you knew just by the color of their faces, they were not all white. They were all different races, which probably meant they all had different religious beliefs. And I would bet that there were a couple people in there that probably choose to love different people than I would choose to love. And yet nobody said, get out of the line, we don't need you. It breaks my heart that we need a disaster to realize that we're here to be humane to each other. We're here to be of service to each other. That's what that means. Your life isn't for you. You were brought here to be of service to mankind. To change what needs to be changed. You know, and we do that, or we have been doing that here at Genesis. We have an ongoing event. It's changed names. This is the third rendition. It is now called Genesis Gifts of Love. And we do it at the Burien Community Center, and it's an opportunity for us to open up our doors and serve people and give gifts to the people of Burien that want to come in and spend time with us. And we sing, and it's wonderful. And nobody stands at the door and checks ID. Nobody says, well, are you a religious scientist? Because if you're not a religious scientist, you can't come to this event. It's open to the public. Everybody gets to come. Because not everybody, even, we used to say, and I was in my office and I'd written the letter and I'd printed it out for Joy. And then Darnita and Tamra and Melissa walked in and picked up my letter and went, okay, first of all, you have a run-on sentence. And I looked at them and said, okay, I don't have any idea what that means. Just tell me where to fix it. But they took out the word because what we had in there is it was open to people of need, I think is what we said. And they said, don't say that. Because when we start to say that we're providing for people of need, there is an energy there that says, I'm better than you. It's not intentional, but there is an energy there that says, I'm better than you. And it's just language. And language is so important. It is so important. We did blessing bags last year, and I hope that we're going to do them again this year. We've done the Super Bowl. This year, could we win? Please? Please, could we just, and I'm not talking about the Hawks. I'm talking about Genesis. It's super, S-O-U-P -E-R, Super Bowl, where we bring in cans of soup, and we're competing against Amazing Grace and CSL Seattle. Come on. I know now I'm competitive, and I want to win. So, let's show up and do that. We've been doing those things. And yet, I still felt a deeper calling of what we can do. Oh, and we're going to Cambodia with Amazing Grace. I don't want to forget that. And that's in service internationally. And yet what I realized is there's so much that can be done right here. And so and everybody here was like, oh, you have to talk to Sarah Marks. You have to talk to Sarah Marks. Sarah Marks is your go-to people for service. And she said to me when I met her, she goes, that's not a bad way to be known in the world. You want to talk about service, go to Sarah. And she's a delight, and she is, this is her passion. When Bill talked about what's your passion, this is her passion, is being of service. And what I'm finding more and more, it's also my passion. And so we talked about Habitat for Humanity and going to Houston. Now, those of you that know me really well, I thought we'd be packing our bags and going tomorrow. And Sarah's like, yeah, no, they're going to need us for 3 to 5 years. And so we're going to go in the spring of 2019, and many of you may say, oh, that's a long ways away. It'll be here before you know it. It will be here before you know it. And there's ways that we can serve here locally. And it was amazing after meeting with her, I just saw a news announcement talking about the same thing, and it's building homes for veterans. And they are doing it in Pacific, and they're doing it in Sammamish. And we can sign up as a community and go do that together. So there's ways that we can serve here. Now, unfortunately, Sammamish is during the week, they need help. Pacific happens to be on a Saturday, and so I'm looking forward to people saying, I want to sign up, I want to go. And the only donation they're asking for, which I thought was really reasonable, and if somebody really wants to go and they're saying, yeah, I don't have that, then talk to me and I will pay your way in. It's $50. That's all. $50. And you get to go help build somebody a home, a veteran. And I assume the veterans are homeless right now. Yeah. So there's also, how do we serve? There's also, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, there's United Way. United Way has amazing opportunities that you can sign up for online. And we can sign up as a group. So this is another way for us to build community. And I think for me, there was always a fear of, I don't know. I don't know what the fear was in my past about not signing up to do these things. Maybe I thought I was too busy. Maybe I thought that, I don't know, it was somebody else's job. I'll just throw money at it. And yet what I know is it shifted for me when I went to that conference. And please don't misunderstand me. If you want to throw money at an issue, please do so. Please do so. That is one of the biggest gifts we can give to any of these organizations. And so when your life is not for you, what it means is it goes even deeper than that. So what we teach here is we all come from the same source. Every single one of us is birthed out of the same energy, which means that we're all connected. We're all connected with people that we like. We're all connected with people that we love. We're all connected with people we may not like a lot. And then we're connected with those people that we maybe don't like at all. And then there's those people we don't know and we're connected to them. There's those people that don't look like me and I'm connected to them. There's those people that don't believe like me and I'm connected to them. And so if we're all connected, then everything we do affects everything else. So if you want more love in the world, you have to be more loving. And I will tell on myself this morning, and this is probably why it really hurt my feelings. So Paul and I are in the car. I am not driving, by the way, just so you know. And I knew when this car pulled out in front of us, it was going to go really slow. I just knew it. I feel those things. I don't know why. It's the way he entered traffic. And out of my mouth came, "Are you kidding me? Just put your foot on the gas." And Paul said, "Seriously, Gayle, take it down a notch." Oh, yeah. Oh. There was no conversation in that car for at least 10 minutes. And then he said, "I was teasing." Yeah, no, you weren't. And what I got was that was okay. Because who but my beloved could say something like that to me? And get the eyes and still drive. It was thick in the car, I'm just telling you. And what I got in that quiet, after I got over my conversation with him in my head, is you really do need to stop this. As funny as it is, as many people that want to ride in a car with you and hear your commentary about everything that's going on around you when you drive, energy is energy. Energy is energy. And so when I am angry in my car, even though it is contained in that nice little steel frame, for me to believe that people can't feel that, then I don't believe in this philosophy. And I do. And so it is my biggest practice. I will just say that. I'm thinking about walking everywhere I go from now on. Or getting some duct tape. I'm not quite sure. Because it's a habit. It is a habit for me to do that. And it is entertaining. And yet, it was the day that I got, I used to make comments about people and how they dressed to girlfriends or to my husband. And it was quite funny. He thought it was quite funny. And when I said, "I'm not doing that anymore," he said, "But it's so funny." I said, "Yeah, but it's not." And here's the reason why. My biggest fear was being judged on stage. My biggest fear was being judged when I stood up here. Now, if you don't want to be judged, guess what you have to give up? Judgment. Everything comes back tenfold. It's just not your financial good. If you're going to focus on lack, guess what's going to come back tenfold? Lack. Lack. So when it's not for you, it's because we're all connected. And if we're all connected, then we really have to start taking responsibility, not just on the, "Oh, I take responsibility for my life. I was rude to you. I'm so sorry." Yeah, that's great. We have to take responsibility for our life all the time. How are we behaving? If we want love in the world, we better have love behind our closed doors. And that means to be nice. Not just say, "Oh, I love you," and then, however I used to behave behind closed doors. So it's about really now, next level, taking responsibility for your life. And in taking responsibility for your life, then it's, West always says on Sunday mornings when he prays, I'm grateful for the volunteers that suit up and show up. It's time for us as a community to suit up and show up for the world. And when I say that, we'll just start with the greater Burien area or, South King County. Because it's a ripple effect. If we can change people's lives here, it's going to ripple out. And when it ripples out, then we don't know who it's going to touch and how it's going to touch them. But all we can know is, wow. And when you're in service, how many have been in service and thought, oh, that was a terrible experience. I really hated that. Did you have one? Oh, did you? Okay, because I never have. I always come back going, wow, that was really wonderful. Well, okay, I'm going to correct that because I volunteered at Food Lifeline. It's really cold there. It is really cold there. So, and most of the time, you walk away from being of service and think, wow, I feel really good. I feel good about myself. I mean, you go to our event in December and you feel good that you got to, serve the community and have Mrs. Claus hand out presents to people you don't know and you may never see again. And here's the deal. There should be no expectation when we do that. We shouldn't be doing that hoping, oh, well, maybe they'll show up at Genesis and start coming to Sunday service. When you're in service or when you give something to anybody, the open hand means that I'm not expecting something back. That's being of service. And I think I shared this story once. I remember giving $20 to somebody in a plaza in Santa Fe. And my husband looked at me and said, he's not going to be on the bus that he told you he needed that $20 for. You know that, right, Gayle? And I said, it's none of my business. I gave him the $20. What he chooses to do with it now belongs to him. An hour later, I walked in the plaza and he was sitting there with a group of friends getting high. And I was still okay with it because it was a gift and we need to give without attachment. That's that this life is not for you. Being of service without attachment, without expectation, without getting our name printed somewhere. It's nice to see. I agree. It's nice to see. And thank yous will come. But what's more important is the ripple effect and changing things in the world that we may never see. We may never see when we go to Houston and start building a house. I don't know if it's one or many. We may never see how that affects people's lives. We may never volunteer here and build a house for a veteran. We may never see the person that gets to live in it. Oh, and guess what? For those of you who did this before, and I'm excited about this too, there's another apartment building going up where we could outfit an apartment. Yeah, see? There's things that we can do that we're going to start doing again as a community. Why? Because that makes us connect to each other. That makes us connect to each other. And that's what community is feeling that connection and then living in that ripple effect out into the world. And so I'm excited for all of this to happen because that's what that meant for me, and I struggled with it as much as Bill did. Like, what? That's the title you want? Your life isn't for you. Okay. And yet it's true. Each one of us going back to Bill's reading in the Passion Test, each one of us has something when we do it, we light up. And we think, yes. Every single one of us. And so what is that for you? And what I know is it doesn't mean you have to quit everything and just do that. Because some people go, oh, my passion is music, but I have to have a full-time job. I've got kids. You know, I need other money. So then do your passion of music another way. Don't not sing just because you can't do it full time. Don't, for people who want to change the world by holding consciousness, and then, I have to work. Hold consciousness at work. We need love and kindness in the workplace probably more than any place else in the world. Take yourself and what take yourself and what you've learned, take it to the workplace, take it to the streets. That's why we're here. That's why we have gathered in community. So if we're all connected, there's a reason we all show up at Genesis. And I don't think it's just because it's convenient, because I know how long some of you drive to get here. So it's not about convenience, it's about heart, and it's about connection. And so let's jump off from there. And I will remind you, it says that Shirley Chisholm did this quote, and then this morning it said Muhammad Ali. So whomever, it's brilliant. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. It is the very purpose of life and not something you do in your spare time. Service is the rent we pay. I've been a little short. My rent is due. And I hope yours is too. And so I want to close with a quote from Ernest Holmes, especially now because I think you see a lot of things on social media about the end of times right now. And so I want to close with this prayer by Ernest Holmes. Stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. And this is all in caps. To desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. When things look the worst, that is the supreme moment to demonstrate to ourselves that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. When things look the worst is the best time to work, the most satisfying time. The person who can throw themselves with a complete abandon into that limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. We're being called. Our rent is due. Let's be of service to the world and watch the world change. And so it is.